Hi, I'm DJ Ware. On this episode of the Cyber Gizmo, I'm going to be looking at Endeavour OS right after this. Endeavour OS has been on my list of distributions to take a look at for a year, because that's when it came out. Well, let's talk about it a little bit, and then we'll go through and install, and then I'll give you my thoughts about it. So Endeavour OS is a rolling release, and it is based on Arch Labs Linux. It was originally kind of planned to be a replacement for Integris, which ended in May of 2019, sadly. And it is developed by one of the moderators for Integris, Brian, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his last name. I would only butcher it and probably would have 50 comments from him. No, probably not that bad. So the goal was originally to be a replacement for Integris, but Reborn OS kind of beat them to that, and they're also a derivative of Integris, and they're kind of following the same track. So, but Endeavour OS team took a step back, and they said, okay, well, let's take a look at this from a fresh and way forward. So what they wanted to do, what they ended up as their goal, was to create an Arch-based distribution with a dynamic and a friendly community as its core. And I really have to say, I think they've done that. If you go to their forums, I think you'll find very quickly that as long as you've taken at least some, as with all things, as long as you've tried your best to try to solve a problem, and you've at least done some reading on your own, I don't think you're going to probably have a problem. So, but I'm not guaranteeing that you won't run into the infamous read the manual, but you might. But I haven't seen that so far on their forums. It was initially released in July, on the July 15th of last year. But in September, Endeavour OS took a step further forward. They created a magazine called Discovery. And in that magazine, it is really kind of, it gives you some background about the various Arch commands, as well as it puts forward some packages that you might be interested in exploring on your own. It gives you some reasons for doing that. And that's always a nice touch, because I've seen that with some of the hardware vendors too, where they publish magazines like Raspberry Pi, and also Odroid has one as well. So those things are always really good, because they spark ideas. They might push you down pathways that you hadn't considered or didn't even know about. Even if you're not using Arch, some of those articles might be useful to you as well. System requirements. Now, I don't have a CPU that's specified, but I did notice on the VirtualBox tutorial, they did have a dual core specified in that build. So I would assume, like most modern releases today, a dual core is probably the minimum that you would need. You probably could run it on an old Pentium 4 on a single core, but it probably won't be the best experience. You need about 1 gig of RAM, and they say about 12 gig of hard disk space, and we'll find that out if that's really true. The recommended system configuration, again, CPU not specified, but I'm going to insert that you probably need at least a dual core, if not a quad. For most things today, you're probably looking at 2 to 4 processors to be able to run effectively a desktop. 2 gig of RAM is what they say, and we'll test that as well. They didn't specify the size of the hard drive, but I would say anything north of 12 gigabyte, you're probably okay, if their specs are correct. And I don't know that. We'll find out together. So the software supply with Endeavour OS, and the system that I'm going to be installing today is the offline mode, and it's pretty lean, as most Arch releases are. You have Firefox, Perl Media Manager, Rosetto Image Viewer, and Transmission. The desktop environments that you can pick and choose from are XFCE, Mate, KDE, GNOME, Cinnamon, Bungie, Deepin, and LXQT. Now, you have 2 modes when you do the install through the live or the net installer. You can choose offline mode, and that will default to XFCE as your desktop. If you want a choice, you have to use the online mode, and then you can select from which of the desktop environments that you want. Now, on their website, they say only choose one, don't choose more than one. They don't recommend that. If you want to put up multiple desktops, they have that ability elsewhere in the site. So, yeah, they don't recommend that, at least from some of the documentation I've read on their website. So, yeah, I've talked about that already. And as far as the NVIDIA, if you have an NVIDIA GPU, you can install the proprietary drivers along with the system. So you can choose those at install time, and it's optional, and they'll install along with it. There's none of that having to go into single user mode and rip out the Nuovo drivers and then insert the NVIDIA drivers. You can actually do that in line, which I find that very nice. Also, you can manually partition both with Calamares or with gparted. You can dual boot this system alongside Windows, which of course Windows has to be installed first, as it's not friendly to Linux and will overwrite your MBR tracks for grub. You can configure whole disk encryption with Lux if you want to. And I think you can also install it on top of ButterFS, but I haven't tried that. But the default file system is ext4. ButterFS is a very good file system. I just had a long and sordid history with it, and I don't trust it. So once burned, never going back. So yeah, so that's just my opinion with ButterFS. But that's a personal thing. I'm sure it's fine now, but. Yeah, it was the joke was that you ran ButterFS until it self-destructed and took your data with it. I don't think that's true anymore, but anyway, I'm not willing to go back and try it again. So I did try to install this on boxes, and it hung during the package install. Also, I tried this on hardware. I was going to try to do that today on the Intel NUC 10, but it was missing a module and it couldn't continue. I tried a number of things to try to correct that, both going in and flushing it seemed like the module had to do with the hard drive and EFI mode, and that machine is just really finicky when it comes to UEFI. And I just couldn't get past it. I even tried to manually partition the drive, and it still failed. So. So anyway, I'm going to try this on Proxmox today, and so with that, let me get this out of the way, and I'll go to a full screen here so that you can watch along with me. So let me just get this out of the way, and we'll go over here to this. Now I already have it installed because I did it. I did my due diligence and did a test on it first, but and we'll go ahead and install it from fresh. And I'll go ahead and click my NAS, Endeavor. Go ahead and I'm going to be using Spice. You might notice that I'm using Brave today. I found a bug, I think, in Firefox in the latest versions where the DNS is leaking. So, yeah, not good. So let me make sure that you got, yeah, that's good. Got two. Okay. I just want to make sure I have two. All right. So we're good to go there. And I'll just wait for it to create it. There it is. And we'll go ahead and start it up. And I'll do my console. Now Brave, you have to save this and then click on it to get the actual Spice Viewer up and running, but not a big deal. And we'll go ahead and boot into the Endeavor default. And hopefully it'll start up. See my cursor, that's a good sign. Now one thing let me just make sure here. So I had an issue where it was kind of acting a little weird. And I think the reason is on my network, it did fail. So I had to do this. I think this is my network problem. I don't think you'll have it as an issue. Let me just see if I can get out, make sure I can get out. Yep. Okay, so I think we're okay. I think the problem is that my DHCP server is full of. I have a bunch of new machines and I haven't gone through and put static IPs on them yet. So I don't allow too many DHCP servers on the network. So I think that's probably the problem. Finally, it slipped in. Okay, so we do the usual. Pick your time zone, pick your language, pick your keyboard. That all looks good. I'm going to just do now. It's selected BIOS. And I have not done the steps. It prefers EFI, so it really does prefer that. So I'm just telling you that up front. But it should work. At least it did before. Give it the usual. And we'll go ahead and do it next. And install. Yep, I want to do that. And then it'll take off. Should be, I probably should have done this first, but that's all right. We can do that. We'll take a chance on it crashing. It shouldn't. It's pretty it seems pretty stable, but I think I need a little bit more screen real estate here. So we'll go ahead and do that, and we'll keep that, close that. And it does put up a debug window back here so you can kind of watch the progress of the install. This will take about 2 to 4 minutes, somewhere in there. So I'm going to pause, and then I will be right back. Okay, so we're all done here. Took looks like about 3 or 4 minutes. Depends upon how you want to judge it, but yeah, about 3 minutes. So not very long. So we'll go ahead and restart this, and I click done, and then it should go ahead and restart. And it did, and so it's asking me to boot from the hard drive. So I have a couple of choices here. One of them was go in directly, and the other one was to do a fail-safe mode, which would be a troubleshooting mode. So yeah, we'll go ahead and sign in. Now it's asking me if I want to change the background to the Endeavoros XFCE. Yeah, let's do that. Why not? And then I'm going to make sure, let me just see if I can ping. Yep, same problem. So, yeah, this has got something to do with my network, but I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and bring this up and do a ping. Yeah, okay, so we're good. Now, the first thing that it asked me to do here, and I noticed that it also did not expand my Windows when it installed, so it was not persistent. It didn't remember it, so we'll set it again. That's no problem. Oops, wrong one. Let's try it again. I went display, not desktop. That's fine. And we'll go down here. Give me a little bit more real estate. Okay. Let me close that. Okay, so the first thing it comes up with is this box on the welcome, and it gives you some initial steps that you need to do. So the first thing we'll need to do is to update the mirrors. Otherwise, we'll be using the ones that are defaulted to it. And it should, if my network is working, come up with a list. And so far it hasn't. Come on. There we go. And we'll click OK. And I'll wait for it. It should come back and ask me to prompt me to replace the mirror. Okay. And I'm going to save it. Hopefully that's done, and now I can do an update system, or I can just simply go out here. I think I'll do their method. We'll just follow their steps. Network is pretty slow today. Okay. Yep, we'll go ahead and install the update, and we'll do the installation of these packages. Looks like I have a new kernel. I saw that in the list there. Yep, definitely have a new kernel, so we'll want to reboot after this at some point. Even with the amount of updates, it doesn't take very long to do this. Okay, we're done. So the next thing it suggests to do here is to set up how often you want to clean the package cache repositories, and we'll do that weekly. If I want to change the display manager, this is where I would do that, and then I could select from, LightDM, which I want to keep it on LightDM, but you could choose any of those if you wanted those. You can also change to their desktop. You can put or you can use the Endeavor. Now, I think that's what's already set here, so I don't think there's anything else I need to do. So it's saying I need to reboot, so let's do that. Yeah, I know. Could always hit the power button, but on the top right-hand bar. But I already had the terminal window open, and old habits are hard to break. It's not that it's just habit. Already had the command in before I even thought about it. It's that bad. All right, let's see. I'm going to make sure that I can ping. Okay, well, we're done with you. You can go away. Can I get rid of you? Don't show me anymore. Okay, bye. Yeah, same problem still. So, but yeah, my network's up. So it might be an issue on their end. So I guess the first thing we'll want to do here is, let me get this a little bit bigger so you can see it too. And first thing we'll want to know is, I saw it was a 5.7 kernel. That's pretty new. It's a .10. That's very new. In fact, it was compiled on the 22nd of July, so the same date as the ISO file. So let's see what else we can find out here. It's Endeavor, and it's based on Arch. It's rolling, and there's all the stuff there that I don't need any more information than that. Now, I think HTOP is here, and it's showing 359 meg after a reboot, so that's pretty lightweight. 109 threads running and 60 tasks. Yeah, but there isn't much installed on this either. So let's see, what am I missing? No, that's here. How about glances? Let's just take a look. 753 packages. Now that's Arch packages. It's a little bit different than any other distribution. So Glances is installed too. So Glances is showing 596 meg with the application caches. So it's not heavyweight at all. I mean, you could run this on some very low-end hardware. I don't know. I think the only version they have of this is 64-bit. I'm pretty sure of that. And I don't think there is an ARM version of Endeavor OS. At least I didn't see any information on their site about it. Now, Arch does have a number of SOCs that they support under ARM. And I have a video that was done, I think, last year on how to install Arch on ARM. I think I did it on an Odroid at the time. But, yeah, not too bad. Let's see. Is Git out here too? Yep. Okay, so let's go over here. We'll do our usual thing. Yeah, we'll put Linus out. I noticed that Parrot installs it with their security release. It's just really cool. I'm not expecting miracles here. Unknown OS. Yeah, probably they don't know much about Endeavor OS or Arch. I think I get the same warning on Arch too, if I remember correctly. I don't think it's one of the releases they actually have anything that they know about, but it'll still work. It'll apply all the generic ones. I was just curious. They were working on. If they discovered that you were running under a virtual machine, they they had some additional checks they did. So at least it looked like they were getting ready to do that. I'm just curious with this release that if they've done anything with it. Yep, I see something in there. I'll wait for this to finish. All right, we'll crawl back up there and we'll take a look at that. But let's see. The score is 64 overall. Harden the system, malware scanner, syscontrol. Yeah, we need to update that. Got file permissions we need to change. Nothing. Yeah, I need a banner. Systat, audit D, process accounting. All this is the same. Got the same. They got the same stuff here. The protocols that need to be turned off and disabled. Unused kernel modules. This is probably referring to USB or FireWire or both. So those need to be now. USB I can't turn off. I need that. But FireWire I probably don't need. I don't think I have anything that uses FireWire anymore. We need to harden the encryption algorithms. Yeah. And then it's saying I need to reboot the system, but I already did that, so I'm not quite sure why they think that. Containers, virtualization. So they still haven't filled this in yet. Or maybe they just don't recognize one Proxmox is running as a virtual machine. So, yeah, that's no big surprise there, really. I guess the other thing we need to look at is let's see, the block devices. We have a swap and we have our central partition, and we're taking up 5.3 gig disk. So yeah, this 22 will last for a while. Yeah, what they're saying about 12 gig, yeah, you probably could get by with that on a small system if you didn't have a lot of packages that you were installing that required a lot of space. But do remember that there, as far as like things like Office suites and stuff like that, you don't have LibreOffice or anything installed here, and that does take up a little bit more room. So it's pretty generic. Let's see if Yay's out here. Now we'll see if we have a problem getting to the repo in Dallas. Because it was failing about 50% of the time when I did the test. Yep, it did again. So, yeah, there's something going on with the network here. So, but Yay is installed, which is the AUR, the front-end interface to the AUR. And also, of course, you have Pacman. If you want to query a package, let's see, what would I look for? How about Libra? Can I just put in a partial? No, got to be exact. I guess. There's probably a way to do this. I just don't know what it is offhand. So let's see, what else can we look at? Let's go look at their website. So it's EndeavorOS.com, and they have a welcome page, which is this one. They tell you a little bit about it, and if there's any recent things that are going on, any comments or any recent posts, they talk about their first anniversary, of course, and some of the things you can do close to Arch Linux. Arch has, for those of you who use Arch, has one of probably, other than maybe Debian or being neck and neck, but they both have very large repositories of packages. Arch has more because of the AUR, and definitely you'll find Arch more up to date than Debian is, because Debian, unless you're on unstable, unless you're on the unstable, you won't find the latest and greatest packages on Debian. Let's just take a look here. Yeah, there's something going on. I might want to just take a few things and just move on real quick. So this is the magazine, and you can read this online. And they talk about, here's the kernel. Here's the updates for Grub. They talk about WireGuard. I have been playing around with WireGuard, and I have been reading about it. There's a lot of people that are rushing off to WireGuard I I'm a little bit cautious with WireGuard. There's some protocols that it's using that I don't really want to use, but and you know, I'm talking about encryption algorithms. There's some encryption algorithms it's using. No, I don't really want to use those. But so I don't know if that's going to be as good as some people say. I noticed that Bruce Schneier hasn't. He did have some brief comments about it. It's kind of a well, let's wait and see, which is, you know, I see. I know this is not about Endeavor, but since I saw this here, I'm going to just say it. So we have a tendency in this industry that when something new, a new shiny object comes up, we all go, we all run over to it and start using it. But yeah, just remember that WireGuard is still officially not stable. So it has not been completely vetted. I have not seen it yet where the developers of WireGuard have said, yep, we think we've got it. We think we're ready. So anytime just remember you use it in experimental mode, and don't just go rushing it and throw everything away that you have. OpenVPN has been around for a long time. It's trusted. It's been well vetted. It's been beat to death, and it may be slower, but you know something? I'll take slow over with secure over fast, and who knows, any day of the week. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway, let me get back over here to the presentation here. I mean, as far as what you have here for, you know, you have 4 work areas. The file manager is Thunar, and let's see what we got here. Oh, this is bringing up. Oh, that's nice. It brings up glances. I guess some people are listening to. Are you guys spying on me? But yeah, that's a nice touch. I like that. Let's see what Firefox version is. I'm sure it's the latest. I have no question this will be the latest. And if it isn't, they would have probably a really good reason as to not why they aren't on the latest. 78, yeah, that's the latest. But like I said, I did notice that Firefox was, if you can go out to, there's 2 sites. One does IP leak and the other one is DNS leaks. If you go to the IP leak, it'll pass it. But if you go to the DNS leak, it fails it. So if you're using a VPN. So and I didn't notice that behavior with Brave or even Chrome. So there's something going on with Firefox, and so anyway. It's another rabbit hole going down. As far as you have Network Manager. You got your usual controls here. This is interesting. I know Power Manager settings will have some play on a desktop, but I don't have a battery. So, and then notifications. I don't know where those are. We're going to appear. Display with the mouse pointer. Okay. Nice. Oh yeah, I almost forgot the most important thing. So you have some choices for different colors, I guess, of the background. I think I'm going to go with that one. Kind of like that one. I know it's for Plasma, but hey, what are you going to do? Nobody has to know. Don't tell them we're running XFCE. Don't. Anyway, I like it when Arch is made available to all of us. I mean, without having to spend hours to reinstall it. And if you should go through the full install once, just so that you can see the areas that you need to understand better. So I'm not saying don't do that. I am saying that you should. You should actually go take and install a vanilla Arch at least one time. But you'll find on a day-to-day basis, you're probably not going to want to do that. simply because there's just too many times where and usually there's bugs in the packages, there's corruption maybe in the package cache. You can get around a lot of those issues. They're not catastrophic, but you will find times like if you're a little late in doing your package updates and you get behind, you could self-destruct your Arch distro. So that's not a fault of Arch. That's just all rolling releases do that. I've run Rawhide before. Just to play around with it, and yet if you don't update it, Rawhide will self-destruct too. So, yep. Anyway, as far as the look and feel of the release, it's beautiful. It's quite nice. The default icon set, I mean, they're okay. I probably would go in and do some tweaks on them, but it's all right. It's not bad. I just find that. I think that as for the most part, the look and feel of Linux desktop environments kind of falls behind some of the other more closed, if we want OSs, and I just don't think that. I mean, it's getting there. It's getting more polished. You got Budgie, which is absolutely gorgeous. Deepin, which is also beautiful. But I think some of these older ones like XFCE and definitely some of the older ones are just, they're not all that great looking. I mean, it's all right, but this kind of reminds me of the 70s, or I should say the 80s. This kind of reminds me of some of the early releases of Windows. I mean, it's all right, but it ain't great. I still don't like this file manager concept. Anyway. Anyway, you've heard me gripe about that before. This thing here. We're still using the file cabinet model to access files in Linux, and we still have file folders, and we still have folders, file folders, and files. I mean, it's just weird that in this year that we're still following a model that was from the 50s, the 40s, the 30s. We're still following that model. But anyway, that's all I had today. I'll get off my soapbox and I'll go back to work on some other things that I'd like to show you. But anyway, I mean, I love it. I love the release. The ease of install is great. Was not able, like I said, I was not able to install it on boxes, and I think that again it's nothing to do with Endeavor because I was able to do it a few days ago. I think it's network problems on my end, but the NUC was definitely an issue, and I think that's just because of the version of the EUFI chip that's in the BIOS that. It isn't friendly to this, and that machine isn't friendly to a lot of distributions. So, Endeavor joined the list of Linux distros hated by the NUC 10. Anyway, hope to see you all again real soon. And hope to see you all again real soon. And if you enjoyed this video, please comment below and let me know what your thoughts on Endeavor OS are. I'd love to hear them. And with that. That's all I have for today. Please like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye for now.